All right, you sandal-wearing goldfish tenders. It's time to dust off your starter jackets, rip off those tearaways, and blow into your game cartridges. I'm Sam Blandford.
I'm Ben Bryan.
I'm Matt Donovan.
And we wish it was the 90s. Welcome back, dear listeners. And actually a warm welcome back to our fan favourite and Simpsons guru, Matthew Deazy Donovan.
Oh, very big praise there, but just glad to be actually invited back after last time. So thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, Simpson will be gutted. He's just texts me every week. And alongside Deazy on the panel of judges today is his cousin, fellow Simpsons aficionado, Ben Bryan. Great to have you, Ben.
Thanks for having me, guys. I don't think I've been called an aficionado at anything in my life before, so what an honour.
A good thing to be an aficionado and a guru. We're scheduled to have Simon join us today, but he's a late withdrawal, unfortunately. So sorry, listeners, you get the worst of the four regulars and two fill-ins. But never Cape Fear. Deazy and BB will bring it today for This Week on The Simpsons. On March 11th, 1993, the 17th episode of the fourth season aired, Last Exit to Springfield. Before we get into the episode, BB is a podcast virgin, well, our podcast anyway, and I'm sure our loyal fan base would like to hear about your earliest Simpsons memories, Ben.
For me, I can't remember any specific episode exactly, but the thing that jumps out at me when thinking about it was, Donovan, you might remember this as well, actually, was being at my grand's place, Molesworth Street, and watching The Simpsons. And I think it must have been in a time slot when we were kids that clashed with the news, and making mum was like just wanted to watch the news and was only ever allowed to watch the news headlines before we could jump over to The Simpsons, and that just this weird compromise that she had to make for us to be able to watch The Simpsons because we were just that madly obsessed with it from such a young age.
So was that you and Matt, or was that you and your brother?
That would have been me and my brother mostly. I don't know. Matt would know the place and the setting. Maybe would have had a similar time being there for dinners as kids and just being fixed to the TV while The Simpsons was on.
Great setup in the lounge. New TV on top of old, broken, not working TV. It's classic green.
So, because Simpsons changed between Channel 2 and Channel 3 growing up, right? Hasn't it been on both Channel 2 and Channel 3?
I think you're right. When was the Channel 3 change, though? Was that recent? I'm saying recent.
I don't know.
It was probably like 20 years ago now.
For some reason, yeah, not so recent. Yeah. I remember them being on Channel 3 earlier, but then like newer episodes of The Simpsons I remember being on sort of like 7:30, maybe on 2. Shit, we're going back a long way. I don't watch Channel 2 and 3 anymore.
Surely they would have been on 2 for the longer time period. 3 must have been a short stint. I don't know. Am I wrong there? Let us know, listeners.
Yeah, hit us up in the slacks, as we like to call it. So Deazy's going to do a quick run through of the episode for us. We'll have a brief thoughts about it, go over some best bits / quotes, and we will agree, because there's only going to be one MVP, and maybe debate over the best supporting actor. But take it away, Deez.
Of an episode for you guys today, Season 4, Episode 17, Last Exit to Springfield. Mr. Burns sits in his office awaiting the union leader, who hasn't been seen since he promised to clean up the union. It is implied that he was killed in the effort. They can discuss the proposed union contract. Overlooking the contract, he is disgusted with the demands and reminisces about simpler times. As such, Mr. Burns decides to take on the greedy union and revoke their dental plan. Meanwhile, at Painless Dentistry, Simpson children are getting their teeth checked. It is discovered Lisa needs braces. When Marge informs Homer, he tells her not to worry about the cost, and the union had won a dental plan during the strike of 1988. Later, at a meeting of the local chapter of International Brotherhood of Jazz Dancers, Pastry Chefs and Nuclear Technicians, Carl announces the newest contract requires the union to give up their dental plan in exchange for a free keg of beer for their meeting. Homer slowly comprehends that giving up their dental plan would require him to pay for Lisa's braces and jumps into action, reminding everyone how their dental plan has helped them all and how the new contract is an insult. Carl proposes Homer be the new union president and is promptly elected by a nearly unanimous vote. Burns monitors Homer and is impressed, confusing his attempt to get a candy bar off his back with exercising. Burns invites Homer to his office to try to reach an agreement, but Burns' sly innuendos are mistaken by Homer as sexual advances. Homer quickly gets to his feet, saying he doesn't go for those backdoor shenanigans, and promptly leaves. Lisa is given her new braces, which are extremely noticeable, leading her to call herself a monster. Meanwhile, Burns sends hired goons to Homer's in order to take him back to Burns' manor to negotiate. Once they sit to talk, Homer begins to need to use a bathroom. Asks with immediately leaves, causing Burns to think Homer is unwilling to even hear him out. Homer finally becomes fed up with Burns and calls a meeting where the union immediately votes to strike. Burns is undeterred by the strike and he tries several methods by breaking it up, such as bringing in 30s-era strikebreakers and getting loyal robot workers. In addition of Kent Brockman's talk show Smartline, Mr. Burns is allowed an opening tirade and he threatens dire events. 15 minutes later, Mr. Burns and Smithers march to a secret room in the power plant and turn off the power to the whole town. The strikers don't lose hope and begin to sing. Burns, confident he has broken the union's spirits, steps out of his balcony to hear their reaction, but is disarmed by their unity and optimism. Mr. Burns finally calls a meeting with Homer to concede that their demands on one condition: Homer must resign as union president. Homer celebrates, causing Mr. Burns to finally realise Homer is not a brilliant tactician. With the Simpson family insured again, Lisa gets her perfect new braces, and she, the Simpson family, and the dentist gather and laugh as the episode comes to a close, as he's left the laughing gas on.
Cheers, Deazy.
Nice.
Thoughts? Go straight back to you, Deazy. Thoughts overall on the episode?
Look, I always, as a youngster, remember this being just a ho-hum sort of episode, like memorable, but not, overly funny. However, I think I just didn't get the jokes when I was, much younger, the union references and the like. But yeah, I certainly really enjoyed it, rewatching it this time around. It has popped up when, we've had episodes on with the girls and things, and it has popped up every now and then, and yeah, some very good laughs in it, I feel, but so iconic that my sister can remember the, she wouldn't remember many episodes, but she could definitely remember the phrase that echoes over and over in Homer's brain. Lisa needs braces. She'd be able to recite that over sort of any episode. So I thought it was really good. Great one to rewatch again. And I did see a couple of pop culture references in there. If I just chuck them out
go
there,
for it.
I think I'm sure there's more, but certainly I think a Batman reference, the 1989 Batman with Lisa with the mirror. She smashes the mirror. I think that's the Joker, maybe, that does that. When Burns is listening off his balcony, it's definitely an homage to the original Grinch. Yeah, I love it. It's just the facials and the animations are just perfect. So
that was a question I had. Was that the Grinch? But then, I watching it again, I was like, shit, yeah, that is definitely the Grinch. BB, are you, as a firefighter, are you part of a union?
Yeah.
Didn't you? Weren't you recently successful as a union?
That's right. Yeah. Just very recently.
Much like Homer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, much like Homer.
Strike breakers, unfortunately.
We we got a good deal, and it was ratified. But yeah, I think if this will come up probably, but I think if that keg of beer had been offered to firefighters union, like, we would have just been bamboozled by that and just thrown it all away.
What were your thoughts on the episode overall?
Yeah, so similar to Donovan in some ways. Upon rewatching it the first time, I watched it several times recently, and I know it's a very high-rated episode and all that, but I wasn't that taken with it to begin with. I watched it 3 times, most recently this afternoon, and I think it just took some getting back into, or maybe just getting back into that Simpsons brain. I haven't watched it in quite a while. And Donovan, you've definitely cracked it with your sitting around watching The Simpsons with your 2 toddlers.
Shit, yeah.
I'd had it on earlier today. Just sorry to interject. I'd had it on earlier today, just watching this episode, and I was getting Hazel ready for bed, like into her pajamas, and she started going, Simpsons, Simpsons.
Oh,
Mate, I was like, mate, I'd love to watch it right now, but no, it's bedtime. Like, yeah, it's an easy one. When they say that, I'm just like, yeah, all right, come on, let's chuck it on.
Yeah, I'm like groveling to my kids to get any like time for anything that I want to watch or listen to. So yeah, you've definitely cracked it there. Yeah, so it just took me a while to get back into the Simpsons brain, maybe, but I was surprised it came out at the top of a couple of lists of best of Simpsons episodes that I saw, and I was a little bit surprised by that. But I still thought it was really funny, really just great, silly, daft moments in it that the Simpsons do so well. I got a couple of little bits of trivia here that
yes,
at you if that's
please.
all right. Producers wanted Anthony Hopkins or someone like Clint Eastwood to play the dentist originally. Someone sort of like, because he's such a menacing character, they weren't interested, and Hank Azaria ended up doing it in the end. Also funny, O.J. Simpson was going to be on the panel for Smartline, but turned the part down later to the relief of producers, which I thought
Who was the other one that's on there with? Isn't it some lady?
On this wiki that I've got here in front of me, it says Joyce Brothers, who I've got no idea. It says Joyce Brothers as herself.
Would have rather OJ.
Yeah, no idea who that is. They make her seem, I mean, she voices herself, but make her seem real dumb.
American psychologist, television personality, advice columnist, and writer.
She's like, I brought my own pen. Like, yes.
I'm a bit like you, BB, and I don't think it's necessarily me having to get back in the Simpsons brain. Like, I can just flick on a Simpsons episode and thoroughly enjoy it if I haven't watched it in 3 years. And so, I was expecting, looking at some of the critical acclaim that it's got, I was at 9.1 out of 10 on IMDb. I was expecting laughs every minute. It took a while to get into for me. I didn't really laugh out loud for a while. But having said that, it did build, and there's bits that I've found funny this time that I've never found funny before. And other parts that I have found funny in the past, I didn't really laugh at this time. So overall, good episode. I'll give it a 2 out of 4, maybe a 3 out of 4. I'm glad no one's given away any bits and quotes yet, because that's what we're going to be doing next. We'll just do a round table here, and just jump in whenever you want. But we'll start with you, BB. Maybe your favourite part. Otherwise, me or Deazy might say it.
I've got a quote written down here, and it's a Burns quote, and I'm certain that you both have it written down. So I might leave it for one of you, and instead go for probably the first bit that made me really laugh out loud, which was a dentist bit. I think they call him Dr. Wolf. So Lisa's about to have her braces on, and he says, Lisa, so you won't be scared. I'll show you some of the tools I'll be using. This is the scraper. This is the poker. This happy little fellow is the gouger. And it's just so... just got me that bit. Just because of the way he builds and he says it, and the tools coming out with looking increasingly menacing and terrifying.
I thought he was a great character.
Yeah, he's right up there for me, the dentist.
Hank Azaria was a great choice over Clint Eastwood and was it Hopkins?
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins. Yeah.
Yep, Deazy.
Oh, my one's very long-winded, and it might be the longest single quote of all time on the show. But I'm going to put it out there anyway. So, one-off appearance in the episode for this character.
Yes.
One that will just stick in so many people's minds, or at least parts of it anyway. Talking about Abe Simpson and the 30s Strikebreakers. It was just like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville. I needed a new heel for my shoe, so I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they called Shelbyville in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was a style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days, nickels had pictures of bumbees on them. 5 Bs for a quarter, you'd say. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. The important thing was I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. They didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get was those big yellow ones.
Just on that bit, he starts with, well, we can't bust heads like we used to, but we have our ways. And then you hear the murmurs from the other guys, oh, yeah, oh, you've got it. And I thought, because I think it's like Old Jewish Guy is that like character's name. And I thought Simon was always a champion of his, so I thought he would have appreciated that like little bit from him.
The approval from the other members, so good.
Yeah.
I swear that story of him saying, I don't know if it was tying an onion to his belt or 5 Bs for a quarter. He tells a story to like a checkout operator at some point that's similar.
Definitely does, yeah.
I can't remember what episode it is, but when I saw the episode, I was like, oh, fuck, I'm sure he's said this story before. I think this is just a Simpsons bit, and I fucking crack up every single time. It's when I can't remember whether Homer is exercising at the time or supposedly exercising. And Burns is like, who's that firebrand, Smithers? Simpson, eh? A new man? That Simpson air gag is a fantastic running gag with Smithers and Burns. I'm sure that happens a few times where Smithers reels off the things that he's done, right?
Half a dozen things here.
Apparently, that's the first explicit reference to him not remembering who Homer is, and Smithers rattling it off. And then on that occasion, he says, "Doesn't ring a bell." But yeah, I thought that was so funny as well. Like such a good start to that gag. And I remember in another episode, the same sort of thing happens, and Smithers says, all the recent events in your life have revolved around him in some way, which is such a funny way of putting it. Like, how could you possibly not remember this guy?
I think that we've done an episode. I think that was a season 2 episode where he says that.
Really?
The one where he sends that big head at the end. He sends as like a thank you. They get that big Olmec head.
Oh,
Maybe he thinks Bart or something. I can't remember. God,
blood transfusion.
Yeah, blood. Blood something. BB, carry us on.
Okay, well, jump in with my Burns quote. He's giving Homer the tour of the mansion. There's the big TV and all that, but then they go into the room with 1,000 monkeys working at 1,000 typewriters, and soon they'll have written the greatest novel known to mankind. And he takes the note, and it was the best of times, it was the blurst of times, you stupid monkey. And the monkey's smoking, and another one's smoking a pipe, and he like looks at Burns like he's looking for approval on what he's written, and it's so dumb.
I thought the monkey did a good job there.
To even get that much, yeah.
I had a different part of the tour, but I'll get to that after Deazy, hopefully.
Well, I'll change course a little bit, and it is still a Burns quote, or a Burns bit anyway, but Burns Senior. We have our flashback at the start of the episode. Burns makes the could turn his pocket out, or Burns Senior makes him turn his pocket out. He goes, atoms. 1, 2, 6 of them. Like 6 minuscule atoms landing in this kid's pocket would have been like avoidable in any way, shape, or form. Then just I know it's kind of toe, but it's the bit really. But just when he sends him on his way, yeah, you kind of took it in the intro, but a lovely slicist quote, I suppose. But the Japanese, those sandal-wearing goldfish tenders, bosh, flimshaw. Like these two just outrageous expressions, even for the time. So I thought that was very funny at the start of the episode when he's reminiscing about better times.
Just fantastic bit. That's why I was really happy that I stole that for the intro. That when and this is the basement. He's like, oh, it's not as good as your other ones. I really should stop ending the tour with it. And then Homer goes asked to go to the toilet and comes back, and he goes, oh, did you find it? Did you find the toilet? Yes. Real suspiciously.
I love one other detail on that they go down into the basement after everywhere else, and the fact he's got the office in there, and they sit down at a table tennis table to have their meeting. It's just it's so good.
Any more, BB?
Yep. So after that, Homer's returned to his home via helicopter, and Burns is telling you've won this round, Simpson, but I'm going to crush you into the earth like a bug. And then he falls out of the helicopter and crashes on the ground. And then it cuts to him in the stretcher. He's all bandaged up. Smithers gives the thumbs up to the helicopter pilot to take off again. And he's still continuing that line of into the like a bug. and then they fly off, and he hits his head on the chimney of another house. It's just it's a great
absolute gold. Deezo.
It's another part, and it's sort of one quote from that part. But just when they have their own private negotiation, and Homer thinks Burns is coming onto him. There's a few good lines in there, but just the end one from Homer. Sorry, Mr. Burns, but I don't go in for those backdoor shenanigans. Sure, I'm flattered, maybe even a little curious, but the answer is no. Obviously some good ones in there. What does Burns say? Negotiations make strange bedfellows, and then gives him that like over-exaggerated wink. Just, so good,
Yeah, Burns generally, I felt Burns was a little bit different than normal in this episode. Like, often Burns, it's obviously like his dialogue is just fantastic, which it still was in this. But I felt like his physical comedy in this one, like the little winks, and I think he's like acting like a little girl, like put his hands on his chin on his hands at some point of the negotiation.
He definitely sighs when Homer walks away. He's like, he's very disappointed, but like in a sexual way as well.
That I think that was one of my favorite parts of the episode. Little bit that it didn't go unnoticed, I'm sure, but when Burns and Smithers were up in the tall tower where they had to go through all those little things and kick the dog out the way, look at him strutting around like he's cock of the walk. Well, let me tell you, Homer Simpson is cock of nothing. It cuts to Smithers. He's like, Oh, it's fucking gold. I didn't have too many others. You guys have any more?
A couple more.
Go for it.
Following on from that previous one I mentioned about Burns going off in the helicopter, Marge says, they love you down at the plant. And Homer says, yeah, you're right. The guys are always patting my bald head for luck or pinching my belly to heal my girlish laugh. It doesn't sound like they like you very much at all. And then just Homer's like, you're all right. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to punch Lenny in the back of the head. And then the cut to Lenny sipping the coffee and just getting the punch in the back of the head is just looks so funny.
Or Lenny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely another couple. There's one here that you guys might not mention. It's pretty small, but just on the opener with McBain, I love that we have this sort of sequence, and then we've got the transition to Burns, and I think Bart says something like, God, he's so evil, talking about this evil guy who's just like, I think, salmon puffed McBain. It's like, McBain's just murdered about a dozen people there, including about 4 or 5 who were completely innocent. It's like, this guy's evil, he's salmon puffed him to sleep. Like, it's just this ridiculous, like, action scene. I can only assume that they wanted it to just be as over the top as possible. And the bullet holes are, like, crazy as well.
Oh, that's a lot of blood.
Charlotte saw it, I was like, oh shit, let's fast forward this.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I was like, I don't think my daughter would really appreciate that.
There's like headshot wounds and stuff in that scene as well. Like it's as graphic as it can be for the Simpsons. And as you say, Donovan, there's just like the guy who's playing the bass guitar or something gets shot, and there's a guy, he's just like eating a piece of cake and he gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
Like, but why does McBain, after all that, accept the salmon puff? That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, disgraceful.
I still need you.
I guess the parts that I found funny as a kid and didn't laugh this time, it was good to see them in the episode, but was the Lisa needs braces, dental plan, and the dropping the pencil into his ass crack was one of them. Do you know who the guy's name is? The guy with the glasses and sandy hair?
No, I couldn't remember it when I was watching.
Had to look it up. Chucky. Terrible name. And the other one was who keeps saying that? And that guy's like, it was him. Get him, boys. The me guy. That I didn't find them funny this time, but it's something that I have found funny in the past.
There's some good stuff in that smart line debate as well. I love that the opening. Mr. Burns, you wanted to start with an opening tirade, like they're happy to indulge that. And then the stuff like Homer's, the mention of a dinosaur makes Homer scream, and then my director's telling me not to talk to you anymore. Woo! Then the Burns tirade, and then Kent Brockman just ends with a chilling vision of things to come.
Kent's great, eh? Kent Brockman is fantastic.
Yeah, that one was good.
I particularly like it when he opens episodes. Like they're sitting around watching TV and it's him delivering some news item. I often find that very funny. Anything else, Deez?
I just have one more written down here. It's not a major part of the episode, but when Homer's just been made president of the union and he's, celebrating over breakfast with his family and talking to Lisa about, see who the better negotiator is. To which Bart, even though Bart has about 5 lines in this whole episode, comes out with, Dad, I'll trade you this delicious doorstop for your crummy old Danish. Deal. And Bart, wolfs this thing down in a split second. Like, Homer's just sitting there with this cake-looking doorstop. It's perfect.
Homer says, done and done.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, as you say, he eats the Danish in one bite.
Anything else?
Just one more. Just another stupid, silly bit, like the protesters and Burns is going to put the hose on them for some reason. Like, what were they thinking? And I think he says, put it up, crank it on, or something like that. And then obviously it runs away on him, and he's flailing all over the place.
Yeah, that's good. Before we get to our MVP and Best Supporting Actor, you're part of a union, Ben. What was Carl's role exactly in that meeting?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that worked. I was confused. By how all of that worked. And Homer's the president, and then they just launch into strike action. Like, I think Carl announces that as well. Oh, I don't know. Probably no proper role.
Yeah, but Carl's he's heading the meeting, and it's weird. What's the significance of the jazz dancers and it's the meeting for
pastry chefs.
Yeah. I don't get the
Something like
significance of that.
Yeah, I wanted that.
All right. We'll go the other way this time. Deazy, your MVP, please.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, probably going to be fairly unanimous, this one. Not really in many of the super early stages, is he? Oh, no, I guess he pops up, but, strong throughout the whole episode. He's the big player, isn't he? It's got to be Burns. Charles Montgomery Burns. Really steals the show. He's in basically every act. We've sort of talked about some of his great qualities, but, peak forgetting Homer. Smithers rattles off about 6 things, and I just think it's a great character. Like you say, the physical acting or the animations that he gets through some of those, the Grinch part leaning out over the balcony. I think it's peak Burns. I really like his dialogue in this. I know you say he's a bit different, but I think he's quite funny. He's a bit more stupid than usual, I suppose. Like gets fooled by Homer a bit more, but I think it's sort of good that he gets the piss taken out of him as well, not just Homer. So definitely Burns.
Yeah, same for me. BB.
Yeah, I want to go against it, but it probably has to be him. Good physical moments as well, like you say, Dono. We didn't mention it, but there's the bit where he says to Smithers that we can run the plant on our own, and then there's that real weird camp montage where they're like dancing around and skipping and stuff, and that's good too.
And doesn't it end with like them getting chased by robots?
Yeah, that's it. The robots are just like kill, destroy, and Smithers is carrying him, and he sort of nuzzles into Smithers as well, like into his neck.
Robot workers 100% loyal or something like that. Yeah.
BB, we may have some different ones for this, but your best supporting actor.
I'm going to go for the dentist for best supporting. He was right up there for me because the bit I mentioned earlier on. But yeah, I thought that character was real funny, and the idea of that sort of sinister, maniacal dentist. Let's look at a picture book. The big book of British smiles. He's I have to give it to him.
Yeah, nice.
Computer projection. The computer projection that's clearly like never going to occur, like over dramatized to like.
What about you, Deez?
I mean, it's probably the obvious one again, but to me, the other main player. I guess there's not many characters that have a heap of lines. Even someone like the dentist is in it at the start, but then like total lines. Someone like Lisa, who's in a lot of the episode, doesn't even have that much. So I'd gone for Homer. I mean, he's pretty inept in this, and it's a good kind of running joke that he kind of doesn't really do anything. He just exists, is voted into this thing and pushed into this thing, and all the times that Burns sees him doing something good, he's just been a battler, really. So, I think he's either sort of the butt of the joke or telling the punchline. So, yeah, for me, I'd probably go Homer, supporting actor, in this one. I also think it's the first time maybe that he does that Homer sort of spin on the ground. I think it was the first time of that from memory. I could be wrong, but we see that pop up in later ones as well. But just out of nowhere, jumps up from the table straight away and does that. Perfect.
Yeah, that's. I think you may have just talked me round, Deazy. It really is an episode about Burns and Homer, and more so about Burns than anything, and maybe his ineptitude in this situation. Because, as you say, it's pretty stock standard Homer episode, but he's a very good foil to Burns. It's a very different episode than other Simpsons episodes. Like, there was the Lisa part of the story, but it wasn't like it linked to the main story. Often there's kind of like that main plot and then a subplot, which sometimes joins up with the main one, sometimes doesn't. It was kind of just alongside, so there wasn't actually like another story going on, really, which I found a bit disappointing, actually. I quite like when they do that. I was actually going to say Smithers, but then actually going through, like, I think him being in a lot of those scenes with Burns makes Burns funnier in a lot of the time, but he said bugger all, really.
That's the thing, yeah.
So I'm going to have to agree with Deazy. I did really like The Dentist. And I did like Ralph Wiggum's couple of words as well, actually. But I'm going to go with Homer Simpson.
Yeah, honourable mention if we wanted to be slightly different on one. Got to be ups to Lenny Leonard. Yeah, he's got a couple of moments. Gets the diamond swiped out of his tooth. Gets punched in the back of the head.
At least didn't get pudding in his eye.
Yeah.
Lenny's one of my favourite characters, so I was a bit disappointed because I knew he was in this episode that it wasn't more Lenny.
More Lenny would have been good. Did said some more funny stuff, during their picketing. I think there was potential there. He kind of just goes up to Lisa and gets her to, what does he say? Now do classical gas, and she starts like Charlotte earlier in the day, just thinking of those strikes when the scene came on. She was going, "Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito?" It's real good.
Be good to have a video of this, Deazy, for next time.
I'll definitely video it next time it's being requested.
Post it on the socials. Hey, thank you guys for coming on today. Really appreciate your Simpsons knowledge, and I know you haven't been on many of our podcasts, but actually none there for BB. So it'd be good to have you back in the future, potentially talk about Simpsons, maybe something different.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm available for whatever 90s topic you want.
Do you guys? Hey, you guys want to do a plug? You can do a plug here if you like.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it'd be rude not to, right? Yeah, there's some rumblings that the two of us might have a little something in the works, little project maybe to come out. But yeah, sort of highlighting our interest in the cinema and film. So a little film related podcast that we're looking at releasing.
What's it called?
So it's Lights, Camera, Reaction.
If you like what you've heard here today and you like completely unverified pieces of trivia, then you're in luck. Give it a listen.
Wow, looking forward to getting my appearance fee on that one too. All right, thanks for listening, and thanks again, Hired Goons.